Does Alzheimer's disease have a surprising link to diabetes, and is a cure possible? What if Alzheimer's wasn't just down to bad luck or genes, but it was down to your brain throwing a sugar tantrum? No, really, stick with me. Your neurons might just be hangry. More and more scientists are calling Alzheimer's type 3 diabetes, and not just because it sounds edgy. It turns out that the same blood sugar that gives you the muffin top, the afternoon slumps in energy, are also causing insulin resistance. In today's video, we're going to dive into how insulin resistance, brain fog, and that spoonful of coconut oil that your weird aunt swears by are all linked. You're going to learn why the brain and the heart love ketones for energy, why the liver's too busy being the kitchen staff to worry about using it, and why babies basically do keto better than we do. But stick around, because if you're in your 40s, 50s or 60s and you're starting to forget people's names or the end of sentences or misplace your glasses or walk into a room and have no clue why you went in there, then you definitely need to hear this. In case you haven't met me before, my name's Emma Voysey and I'm a health coach, and my channel is all about strategies to improve your health, to empower you, and to learn the truth about things that maybe you've been misled or misunderstood over the years. I'm going to give you information that will enable you to change up your behaviours and reclaim your health, because it is absolutely possible, and at any age. Chapter 1. Alzheimer's isn't random, it's metabolic. So here's the deal. Alzheimer's is now being looked at by a growing number of scientists as a metabolic disease, meaning it starts with energy problems in the brain. It's not a lack of Sudoku, it's not forgetting to buy the milk. It starts with that bad guy, insulin resistance, which I've talked about before. It's the same thing that's behind belly fat, mood swings, afternoon energy slumps, and type 2 diabetes. And here's what nobody is telling you. Your brain uses a ton of energy. It weighs, overall, it's like 2% of your body weight, but it's using 20% of your total energy is being used by the brain for fuel. So 20% of your total fuel, that's the total fuel to drive the whole body. So it's really, really greedy. And its preferred fuel is glucose until it can't use glucose anymore. So think about it. So enter the pantomime bad guy, insulin resistance. Chapter 2. Miss, what is insulin resistance? Good question, little Jimmy. In plain English, insulin resistance is when your cells stop listening to insulin. They stop admitting it, they stop letting it in. It's that vital hormone that helps shuttle glucose into the cells for our energy. Come on, Mugs. It's like insulin is knocking on the door, but your cells aren't listening. They're wearing noise-cancelling headphones and they're just saying, I can't hear you, can't come in, sorry, no. And at first your body just makes more insulin to compensate. It's like a desperate ex texting, please respond. But eventually the cells still won't budge. Blood sugar goes up, body-wide inflammation kicks off, all the aches and pains start, and they become more of an issue. And it's unexplained, it's just put down to old age. But it isn't just down to normal aging. The brain gets starved of fuel because its favourite, quickest fuel is glucose. So the glucose isn't coming in, and that's when memory starts to fade and focus gets a bit foggy, and it all gets blamed on old age, or, oh, it's just my menopause. And the risk of neurodegeneration begins to build. And depending on how much Coke or other junk foods you've scarfed down, and that could already be on its way in your 20s, 30s and 40s. And it's not even just the Coke and the junk foods. It's anything that you eat, any starches that you eat that are just turned into sugar by the body. So that goes through rice and pasta and the healthy whole grains, the granola that you have for your breakfast. So can you even begin to imagine, in the way we eat in our society, how many people we are going to be witnessing with early onset dementia, especially knowing how poorly people eat, and especially the youngsters, and how little importance anyone's attaching to this. But here's the good news, because I always bring you some good news. It's not all bad. Insulin resistance is completely reversible. Completely reversible. You can fix this. With the right food, movement, and fasting habits, you can teach your body to start to respond to insulin again, just like I did, because I was so insulin resistant because I'd eaten mainly carbs because they were my favourite food, like they are of so many of us. They are so addictive, they're so delicious. Give me a loaf of sourdough and I could sit there with a pat of butter and work my way through it quite happily in the course of half a morning. So, you know, it's not like I'm some amazing health guru who's never done anything other than put perfect things past my lips. Absolutely the opposite. I was a big carb junkie just a few short years ago. It's a wake-up call. This is not a life sentence. It's a wake-up call, so let's wake up. Chapter 3, your ketone backup plan, your brain's plan B. Now here's where it gets really interesting, and not just interesting, fascinating. So here's where I don't just bring you good news, I bring you amazing and interesting information as well. Your brain loves glucose until it doesn't. And when insulin resistance kicks in and the brain can't get the sugar it needs because the cells have closed the door and we're knocking on the door and no one's listening, it starts to sputter like a crappy old car engine. Like a car engine failing. But, and this is a big but, your body has a backup fuel. Plan B, ketones. Ketones are made in the liver, so nothing to do with eating sugar. Ketones are made in the liver. And when you lower your carbs and stop putting the sugar into the body, because now we've got insulin resistance, we can't use the sugar, or when you fast, or when you eat more fat. And guess what? The brain loves ketones. Oh! They're like rocket fuel. They're clean, they're efficient, they're anti-inflammatory, and they don't need insulin to get into those cells where you've shut the door. They don't need the insulin in the cells. They just stroll right in like a VIP guest at a private party on a yacht. And it's not just the brain. The heart, our heart also thrives on ketones. The heart loves ketones, especially as we get older. So, in fact, hearts under stress prefer ketones to glucose. So there's something, isn't it? Because, you know, as we get older, maybe the stress increases. Certainly if you've got body-wide inflammation and everything's hurting all the time and you're worried because you can't remember why you walked into a room, then that's going to cause you stress, isn't it? So just like the brain. Now here's the really cool bit. While the brain and the heart love those ketones, the liver, ironically, doesn't use them, which is handy because the liver is the one that makes the ketones. It's too busy in the kitchen to sit down and eat. Classic mum energy. Chapter 4. It's Jimmy again. Miss, wait, aren't ketones dangerous? My dad says, his mate down the pub says that ketones are really dangerous. Good question, Jimmy. You might have heard of diabetic ketoacidosis. And no, that's not what we're talking about here. That's a medical emergency for uncontrolled diabetics. Nutritional ketosis, on the other hand, is totally different. It's safe, it's natural, and guess what? You were born doing it. Babies are in ketosis from birth until about 6 months old. If they are breastfed, if they're just having mother's milk, then they are in ketosis from the moment they come out until the moment they start eating something like baby rice with carbohydrates in it. So breast milk is naturally high in fat, which is a good thing, and it's very, very low in carbs. So baby brains develop on ketones. It's literally our factory setting. It's literally how we started out and how we're meant to eat. But the minute we start spooning in the rice, what's that stuff called? Baby rice. and the breadsticks and the rice cakes and the banana mush, those ketones are going to vanish and blood sugar becomes the main player. Oh, what? Shush. Hey, Margie, it's okay. Shh. No. Shush. And for some of us, it never switches back because until we're 55 and panicking over brain fog and Googling early signs of dementia, which is what happened to me. So ketones, babies, all good. Ketoacidosis, it's a uncontrolled emergency in diabetics. It's not what happens when we're using ketones for energy. The Stevie Newport story. So let's talk about Dr. Mary Newport's husband Steve, who had early onset Alzheimer's and he was declining fast. Mary, being a doctor and a badass, read some early research on ketones in the brain. And she started giving Steve a big spoonful of coconut oil every day because it contains MCTs, or medium chain triglycerides, which the liver quickly makes into ketones. And within 60 days, so 2 months, Steve was remembering better. He was smiling. He could hold conversations again. And if you've ever been close at hand with somebody who has suffered from Alzheimer's, this is quite unexpected. You don't expect it to be reversed. Now, was he cured? No, but the improvement was undeniable. And it sparked an entire movement of researching ketones as therapeutic fuel for the brain. Now, Mary is a highly respected doctor and she's a prolific author and she's written more than 5 books. I found 5 of them on Amazon. And I'm particularly keen to read what's the one that's called The Coconut Oil and Low Carb Solution for Alzheimer's, Parkinson's and Other Diseases. So all diseases of the brain are benefit from a ketogenic diet or a diet high in ketones. They say that animals eat instinctively, and our cat, who's named Grey Boy, you can see here, it's easy to see why we called him that. He's loved licking coconut oil off my fingers since he was a kitten, and for his whole life. And he's never visited the vet except for his health certificate when we moved to Andorra. And he's now nearly 10. And he's in really great shape. And also Mikey's now joined in the licking the coconut oil off the fingers. They actually they queue up at night time. They wait, before I get into bed, they wait for their coconut oil every night. And they can have it in the morning too if they can get me to open the jar. And I guess if you're a Labrador owner, you might say that, well, animals don't always eat instinctively. But Mikey's quite particular, and cats certainly are. You know, cats don't just eat anything, but they love coconut oil. So, chapter 6, the fats that heal, not harm. Now, I know some of you are still scared of fat, and not without good reason. We've been told for decades that butter's going to kill us, and the only safe option is that miserable plant-based margarine that tastes like regret. But here's the truth. Natural animal fats like butter, like tallow, like egg yolks, fish oils, they are protective. They are anti-inflammatory. They stabilise your blood sugar. They feed our hormones. They make our hormones. And plot twist, they don't cause heart disease. Sugar and seed oils do that quite nicely, all on their own. If you've still got a tub of vegetable spread in your fridge, I'm going to need you to walk it to the bin. Don't worry. I'll wait. I'm still waiting. Chapter 7, how to protect your brain starting from today. So what can you actually do? I've got some strategies, and we're going to break down the most effective tools to protect your brain, starting with, you know what I'm going to say, starting with what's on your plate. I've got 5 brain-preserving, belly-calming, fog-clearing tricks, and not one of them involves Sudoku. So number 1, and yeah, you've guessed it, ditch the sugar and the ultra-processed carbs. They fuel insulin resistance. Get rid, you don't need them. They're delicious, they're addictive, they're so addictive, but you don't need them. You just have to try and break that addictive cycle. Number 2, you're going to embrace healthy fats, especially the saturated fats from real food. This is going to make your meals delicious. It's going to make your meals sustaining and sustainable, and because no one wants to survive on fat-free plates of misery. I mean, let's face it. Number 3, come on, Mugs. Number 3, try intermittent fasting. Even 14 to 16 hours of not eating is going to help you start to produce ketones in your body. So just stop eating a couple of hours before bedtime. Don't eat the last mouthful as you drag yourself up off the sofa and fall into bed. Try to stop eating after dinner. And then try pushing your breakfast forward by an hour in the morning, and then maybe 2 hours, if that fits into your schedule, if you've got time. But even, like I say, even 14, 15, 16 hours of not eating every day is going to be beneficial for you for making those ketones in your body. You can see where I'm heading with this. I mean, you don't have to launch into immediately. I'm not going to say to you, right, you need to do 24-hour fasts. You can progress towards that, but start small. Start with something that's manageable. Get used to the feeling of being empty and not putting food in all the time, not grazing all the time. I used to graze all the time. I just was always putting something in my mouth. You know, every time I went to the kitchen, I opened the fridge, or open the tin of nuts, or, you know, they're all healthy things that were good for me, like raw nuts. Or, you know, as it turns out for me, not so good. But anyway, that's another story. But I was always eating. And now I really enjoy that feeling of being completely empty between meals and being properly hungry each time I eat. Next one, number 4, move your body. Exercise improves insulin sensitivity and it grows new brain cells. And it improves your mood. Releases feel-good hormones and it builds muscle. So what's not to like? Find something you like doing and do it. And do something every day. And number 5, talked about it before, sleep. Prioritize sleep, because your brain literally puts out the bins, takes out the trash whilst you're asleep, whilst you're slumbering. And the brain literally washes whilst we're asleep. And that brain washing, which is a good thing, the good kind of brainwashing, that doesn't happen until you're in completely restful deep sleep. And in order to get into that restful deep sleep, we need to start prioritizing turning the lights down in the evenings, getting our bodies ready for sleep in a positive way, establishing a sleep schedule like we do for children. You know, you just put them to bed at the same time every night. Do that for yourself as well. Start to get into a routine so your body is getting ready for sleep quietly. You stop eating, wind down, melatonin rises, because melatonin cannot rise, that's the sleep hormone, when insulin is still high. So insulin's high because you're still eating, so you have to keep those two things separate. So it's another siren. Prioritize sleep, number 5. And no, you don't need to go fully keto overnight. Just make a shift towards eating real whole foods, single ingredient foods, rather than the processed junk. And crucially, lower your carb load. Lower the body's work it has to do with carbs and lower the body's glucose. Watch your energy and your clarity and your cravings. They will transform. Once you get rid of the carbs, everything becomes easier. And you don't have to get rid of them all, and you don't have to do it all at once. Just lower your carb load and your outward appearance will change as well, in a good way. Just got to show you this view over here of the city of Bath. Look at that, amazing. Bath is in the southwest of England. It was a Roman city. It has a spa, has natural springs underneath it, and they're hot springs. Look at that. And it's all built of this beautiful pale coloured stone. We're not near the sea, but we can hear seagulls. You can see I don't know if that's a river or a canal. Sorry about that, I'm a bit ignorant about things like that, but there is a waterway down there. And this is such a good viewing point. can see the whole city from up here. Can't we, Margot? Hey, should we go back? Come on then, let's go, let's go. So, to wrap up, listen, Alzheimer's, dementia, it isn't just about age, it's about the fuel. If your brain can't get the fuel it needs, then it falters. It stops working, it stops being efficient. But if you give it ketones, it wakes up. It starts firing on all cylinders. And I can attest to this because it happened to me. I was in that position just a few short years ago where I was just forgetting more and more stuff. If I didn't write it down, I had no chance of remembering it. I found it so infuriating to forget what I was saying mid-sentence and actually have to stop and rewind and think where I'd got to. That is not normal. That is not normal aging. We've been blaming the wrong thing for decades, as usual. It's time to flip the narrative. You are not destined for cognitive decline. It's not a natural progression of aging. You just need to give your brain what it's hungry for. And maybe, just maybe, that starts with a spoonful of coconut oil or butter or some delicious buttery scrambled eggs. So if this video has helped you, please share it. And share it with someone you love, and subscribe if you haven't already. Give me a like, I would really appreciate it. I've got more truth bombs and myth-busting videos coming up every week. And if you'd like even more health insights and exclusive tips and personal content and updates straight to your inbox that I don't share anywhere else, join my email community. You'll be the first to receive practical health strategies straight to your inbox and inspiring stories and special content. There's a link downstairs. There's a link down in the description. And if you've enjoyed this video, you might like to watch one of these two next. I love doing that because I always used to forget. And until next time, keep it simple, stay strong, nourish, not punish. And from Margot and from me in beautiful Bath on this amazing sunny morning with the birds singing, I say cheerio. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate you. Bye for now.